Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome on this International Day of Yoga for the program on yoga for holistic health being organized by IHMR University, Heartfulness Institute, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. A very warm welcome. We request Dr. P.R. Sudani, President IHMR University, to deliver the welcome address to the participants.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, and it's a great pleasure for me to welcome all the dignitaries, the key speakers who have confirmed us that they would like to share their experience and wisdom in this important webinar, which is slightly different than what we usually do in the academic and related programs. Since IIHMR University, it's one of the higher education institutions in the country, especially focused on improving health status of the population in the country. That is our mission, basically. When we started this organization in 1984. So this institution was set up with a particular objective, that how we can improve the standards of well-being and health of the population of the country through management tools and techniques. So when we say management tools or the management techniques, I would also like to say that managing yourself, that is also management. Managing yourself for your own health, that is also management. And managing yourself for managing others' health, that's also management. So the management perspective is very wide. Managing health programs or the managing hospitals, that is one aspect, I think, that is the management. But when it comes to the overall approach towards life or the lifestyle, then definitely management comes into picture. Many times the people face a difficulty that they are not engaged in yoga because of they are not able to manage the time. So again, the concept comes that are we also effectively utilizing our time in managing our own health? So the time management is there, or if we follow a good time management philosophy, I think probably we will be able to engage ourselves in practicing yoga. Many times people just want to hear about yoga, but they do not practice. So many people, they would like to hear, even on the webinar also, that what the dignitaries and speakers would share their experience on yoga. So they like this activity, but how the people will be converted into, practicing yoga. So that is more important, that how we convert the population into in such an environment that they should practice yoga and and feel that it's part of their life. Then only I think that the International Yoga Day, which has a great motto, great mission in itself, that we will be able to fulfill. So I again request all the participants that yes, you participate in the webinar, listen very carefully to the dignitaries who are with us today on this platform. But I would also request the participant that please try to practicing yoga in your life. And today we are actually COVID, or you can say post-COVID era, normal or the new normal era, whatever you want to say. But yoga is everywhere. When I teach our students the public health, now I started saying that public health is everywhere. after COVID, I started this new term. I learned this new term that public health is everywhere. But I think that we should also promote that yoga is everywhere. Then only we can have a good and sustainable health profile of our population. Sustainability is must as far as health is concerned. Health is not to be seen that it is only for 1 year or 2 year or short duration. It's lifelong. So you should be very healthy. Lifelong, you should be very healthy, and you should enjoy a quality life. When we say quality life, many things come under this, portfolio. When we say quality life, it is easy to teach the student what do we mean by quality life, or what is daily. Everything we teach in the public health, but in real terms, the quality of life is that you should be happy, you should satisfy yourself, and you should feel that yes, through yoga and all these activities, you are more comfortable to work. Your productivity will be increased. Yesterday only I was talking to some of my friends. They every day they used to practice yoga, and they have started this habit since last 3 years. And they were sharing their experience that Dr. Sodani, when we started this yoga in our life or practicing yoga, then we are feeling that our energy has boosted up. I'm doing a lot of work in my office. I'm doing a lot of work in my life. Earlier, before the yoga, I felt that, after some time I feel tired or like that, and everything is going on. But after this yoga, it has tremendously changed my life. I'm full of energy in the morning, and even in the night, up to the night, the whole day, I don't feel that I'm not able to do the work or tired or like that. So something she shared that something is, you can say that it is not visible to you, that how yoga is important. It is invisible, but it gives you some sense of really credentials to yoga. So once again, I would not take much time. We have great speakers, great dignitaries with us today. So would like to hear them and try to practicing yoga in our life. We have our students also today, and as a university, we feel that it is our obligatory to the student that we should also try to engage our student in yoga and good health and good life and all these things, apart from their academic or research intentions. So once again, I would like to welcome all the dignitaries, all the speakers on behalf of IIHMR University. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Surani sir. As you rightly said, it's about practicing yoga, not just discussing about it. And to the best of my knowledge, all the panelists we have today are practitioners of yoga as an integral part of their lifestyle. Each one of them, as I know them, somebody is into, asana, somebody is into like Raja Yoga. I personally had an opportunity to learn from some of them. So we are grateful to listen to them, and we're thankful to you for the welcome address.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So we have many more speakers awaiting us. Dr. Ramesh Goyalji, the Vice Chancellor, from the Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research University, Dr. Sai Babaji, Registrar, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Dr. Veronica Nikolai, Director, Heartfulness Yoga School, Nivedita Di, Vice President of Vivekananda Kendra, Dr. Krishnamurthy Jayana, Professor and Dean, Faculty of Life and Allied Health Sciences, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Dr. Vibin Ramakrishnan, Professor, Department of Biosciences and Bioengineering, IIT Guwahati, and Dr. Rashmi Jain, the Laughter Ambassador of Laughter Yoga International. We have all of them with us today, and we are all the more eager to listen to you. Before that, I request Sai Baba sir to help us with the keynote address. Sir, you're on mute.
Yes, this is one word most often used in the recent past. Muted or unmute. And thank you. Yeah, first of all, let me thank you for having me on this panel or on this part of it. It's a privilege to be part of this important discussion. I think Dr. Sudani has set the requirement of conducting such meetings. For me, as somehow humankind, in the hurry to progress, make progress, or achieve quality life, enhance the quality of life, they lost their path because they stopped looking inside. And that's where all the problems have started coming. And with age, it starts reflecting in your health. Then you start looking at it. And many times the introspection is left to old age. You start looking at practicing these yogas and practicing the spiritual path. These are all somehow left to the elder generation. And what is good happening in organizing meetings like this or observing days like Yoga Day internationally is a message to all the youth that it is the time you should embark on the path of these observations, these practices. I think somehow there is a difference between yoga is not the physical movement. Yoga is connecting to your thought process, your breathing process, and the physical exercise. I'm sure that anywhere you go to any yoga class, this is the first thing they would tell you is that yoga is more than the physical movement. That's where the spiritual thinking has to be there. Of course, it's very clear yoga is not associated with any particular religion or particular thought process. And I think it was very good that the Indian government and the Prime Minister took lead in spreading this message to the world and getting the recognition it is due, which is pending for long years, maybe hundreds of years. I don't know why we have not done this. And that would really motivate people to take up this for your own well-being. And today we are talking about how do we achieve well-being? How do you achieve health for the people? These are all issues which you are talking at a very high level to see how can we do that. And here is a method by which if you adopt it, and I always, I was writing a blog in the morning, I said, if you want to yoga, nothing else is required excepting you and your determination and your willingness to practice it. Just imagine it is there with you, and that's what you need to follow. You don't have to go anywhere. You can be with yourself and do that. And this is the one message we should get. But then that itself is very difficult also. That is because being with you is a challenge. Being with you is a challenge, and how much you can be with you is a thing. This is the practice we need to do that part. Fortunately, we have learned gurus, learned practitioners who are ready to help us, who are ready to train us and to guide us in pursuing this path. I just browsing the net and I found that today there are more than 300 million people who are practicing yoga. It's very heartening that more than 70% of them are women, and you can imagine, see how good it will happen to these women who are. And then countries like Japan really seeing substantial increase in the yoga practitioners. Of course, there's another danger which is happening with such spread of yoga practicing is that it's also becoming like an industry. A lot of commercial things are coming into the picture. The amount of yoga teachers that are available in the Western world far exceeds the amount of yoga teachers that are there in our country. It's like those games you play, you throw the ball and it will come back to you. Maybe it is coming back to us. And I hope we don't forget the origin of this. So I always say practicing yoga has to be internalized. And normally what would happen is that you get into some health issues, then you resort to yoga practice. You have a blood pressure or you're diabetic, then you suddenly want to practice yourself. And that is the challenge which you have. I always tell this example to say that, you want to enjoy the fruits of a tree. The very thought of enjoying the fruits of tree would not give you the fruits. You need to really prepare for it. You prepare the ground, you manure it, prepare it, and then let it grow, and then you get the benefit of it. Somehow when it comes to things like yoga, meditation and all, people want quick results. And that is where I think one message which I would like to give to all the young people who want to pursue this is that it is a magic if you pursue for a longer time. It's not a overnight. Solutions are not there when you want to practice this. And this is something which we need to do. And I think, I'm sure that is one branch of science which people don't debate whether it belongs to India or not. I think it is a gift from India to the world. And so that there's no doubt about it. And if you go to, if you go to Indus Valley, the reminiscence, what you can find, there are indications that, the Indus civilization, there's a clear indication that yoga was practiced from those times onwards. Unfortunately, this country has been invaded by a number of times, and then we somehow forgot what we have inherited. And luckily, we are reinventing that part of it. A lot of effort is going on in terms of how to make it, reach it out to the young people. I think so. I think I just looking into what Prime Minister Modi said today. I think yoga is a symbol of universal aspiration for health and well-being, and it is a health assurance in zero budget. That means you can manage with yourself. I think, and of course, we are all going through very difficult times of COVID, and it's been more than what you can ever imagine. We're locked down for more than a year and a half. Do not know when we can become normal, or we can ever become normal. What used to be BC before COVID, they were telling. What is got a lot of impact on mental health of people. I'm sure Krishnamurthy Jaina is going to talk about this. I think the mental health challenges of leading a life different from what you're used to it. And even if the COVID is gone, the impact is going to be there for a long time. And that is where the practice of yoga would help us, for well-being, for inner well-being, and practicing yoga, meditation, actually is our emanation. That is, we have an emanation in our fight against the unprecedented health pandemic. The best part of yoga, which I mentioned in the beginning, is you only need commitment, determination to practice. Rest is all with you. And I think let's all be determined, and let's all have commitment to our own well-being. After all, we are telling, take care of yourself. We are not telling take care of others. Take care of yourself, and your well-being is important for the society, because if you are well, you'll be able to contribute to the well-being of the society and others. And I would say days like this are to contemplate and think about how can we enhance to ourselves and commitment to our well-being and also well-being of the society. And I will stop here. And I think maybe I'll stop here by what Sadhguru said about the yoga, and then leave it for the other speakers to continue. Yoga is a possibility that India offers to the rest of the world. Take charge of your health and well-being. And this is the message. And I think we all have to work for well-being of oneself and well-being of the society and contribute to it. I thank you for the opportunity and look forward to useful deliberations and discussions in the rest of the webinar. Thank you, Sailaja.
Thanks a lot, sir. Very simple yet very profound. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Ramesh, sir, I request you as the chief guest for the day to address our participants.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sailaja, for asking now. Now, at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Sodani for considering me and giving me this opportunity to give and express some views about the yoga. And when I'm seeing this yoga, I would like to mention here that we were fortunate that yesterday we inaugurated the Center for Yoga and Meditation and Yoga Sciences in our university. And we are going to have more and more instructors, more and more teachers. Dr. Sai Baba rightly pointed out that yes, there is the number required is less. Another thing is that we have been celebrating this International Yoga Day, and I convey my compliments and best wishes. We are passing through a very bad time. I mean, it's a Corona time, whatever you call. Yes, there were many sufferings, I will say. And under these circumstances, to organize such program, I must compliment the organizers. Yoga, when we say, if you use the word yoga as the Hindi word, it is addition. If you talk in English, yes, it is union. But union of what? Bliss, mind, and self-discipline. Bliss comes from heart. Mind, yes, brain associated. And self-discipline has to be applied. Now, I can see in today's program, the society, that is the Heartfulness director is there, Panarik Nikolai, and the mind, the brain, the president, P.R. Sudani ji, and to apply this into the practice and giving the message of practice from the School of Applied Sciences, Dr. Sai Baba has already told the registrar of the Ramaiah University. And then all these three, bliss, mind, self-discipline, to be in the yoga addition, to make and to be integrated into the lifestyle sustainability, which will be talked by the Dr. Nivedita. And then, yes, we are passing through the COVID time. So naturally with the COVID, so medicine, and rightly Professor Vivek Ramakrishna, who will be talking from the Guwahati, talking on the subject of medicine. So in true sense, the theme of this today's program, Yoga for Holistic Health, you have beautifully designed. That is what is the power of the HMR. I had an opportunity to visit, and it is really great to be here in that. Now, unfortunately, this word holistic, it is supposed to be HOLIStic, but people have used it HOLY. That is the biggest problem. So they have made it religious. I don't know why and how it happened. But yes, although we understand that in the Rig Veda 5,000 years ago, Indus Saraswati civilization, this yoga practice, you can see the earliest evidences of its presence. But the thing is that later on, Buddhism, Jainism, or anything you can say, it continued for years together, centuries together. But what happened was that in 11th century, Al-Biruni, he got translation of the Sanskrit of the yoga to the civil, to the Persian, and yes, it went to in the other religions, including Christianity. And this word Om was replaced, and it was Amin. In our center also, one of our guru, he asked, why don't you use Amin rather than Om if you want, if you feel you are discomfort, you are not comfortable. So this is what the whole thing has occurred. Well, I will not go into the details, but certainly the problems are that of this nature. I mean, anyway, we are not here to discuss those things. as rightly pointed out by Dr. Sudhani sir, that it is to be practiced, it has to be managed. That is what, and as the right theme, practice for well-being. And certainly, currently the whole world is unwell. We have 18 crore of people who have suffered already from COVID, 40 lakh deaths, and cases are still 7 to 8 lakhs coming every day, even today. And deaths also more than 10,000 every day around the world. So a sort of a fear is there all around. But yes, let us say farewell to this fear. And for that, yoga can be the way of life. And yes, very important topic, post-COVID fear, post-COVID complications. I know Dr. Nivedej will be talking more in that part, but yes, yoga has to be adopted under these circumstances. How we are going to practice ourselves and spread in the society, new normals have to be decided. I think IIHMR, being the Management Research Institute, new normals, they must be looking every day, some new normal coming in different fields. So new normal has to come even for this. Well, if I start talking, I'm a professor, so I can talk to 45 minutes at a stretch. I will not do that. I can start talking to the COVID, the immunity, but I will not go. We all know that the COVID, what I understand as a pharmacologist, is that it is ACE2, the renin-angiotensin system get disturbed, which is, of course, people are generally talking about the spike proteins and all that, but the main problem is not the virus multiplication. The main problem is T cell attack and followed by immune surge, the cytokine surge. So antibodies. So that's why whole thing are circling around the immunity. And then in the post-COVID complications, the brain, eye, GIT, respiration, cardiovascular, everything get disturbed. But if you see, the base is the angiotensin converting enzyme 2, what we say ACE2. That is there. Now, I cannot go on talking on that part, but immunity, the basic is the problem of COVID is immunity, the immune response, cytokine surge, and it has to be modulated. It is not something that you have to raise immunity or just antibodies. No, it is something more, something really complicated. But if I go back in our simple immunity, the word meaning of immunity in Hindi, rog prativadak, or what we say resilience, resistance. It is responsible for resistance. Or rog pratirakshak, or resilience, something which can cause resilience. Or something exemption. Then there is immunity, means something exempting from various diseases, what we call as the pratikarak shakti. Or rog mukti, freedom from the disease. Or the contracting and defense mechanism. You can go on explaining, but ultimately immunity is something holistic by itself. This is the holistic. So it is having some mechanisms. Why I talked all that there is something like in our biotechnology, we have the Yama gene, the process of apoptosis, the death, apoptosis we call, but apoptosis is the programmed cell death. This death is also programmed by the nature. So programmed. And then the gene which was discovered, the scientists gave the name Yama gene because it is leading to death. Later on, it was called as the caspase 3 because like we had Indian variant and UK variant and all that, then they have come down to alpha, beta, delta variant like that. So they better to call it as a caspase 1, 2, 3 like that. But it was originally Yam gene. What I am trying to tell is that when we talk of immunity, immune mechanisms, immune modulation, inhibition, but immune is an active process and you require oxygen. We all know oxygen became the top deficiency or cylinders or like that, but body also have the same thing. And oxygen, Hindi word is pran vayu. I mean, oxygen is everything. So how yoga gives us immunity? In a very simplistic language, you can say that yes, it is the providing the oxygen itself, modulating with the oxygen. That is what is the power, if we say it is the yoga. Now, as we see that it is many times connected to religion, but it is not religion or spirituality, but spirituality is important. Now, this word spirituality is also a little difficult. Spirituality in philosophy or in science? Philosophy and science. Sometimes people feel philosophy in those who are doing BA that it is very easy. It's not easy. Philosophy is the most difficult subject. You can understand science easily, but not the philosophy. And understanding the natural phenomena with the evidences is the philosophy. But the difference in science is that science also understands nature, but by some practicals. It doesn't mean that the philosophy don't understand the nature, but nature, yes, it is important. So the moment we talk of the philosophy, it becomes a science, philosophical science or that, but at the same time, it is something else. Now, going further into yoga. Yoga means what? I mean, we understand tranquility, what we are talking, the bliss, followed by what we talk of the mind, calming the mind, tranquility. That is what is the ultimate. But this ultimate peace, when we talk the peace, that's why the philosophy becomes a very difficult term. How to understand this peace? If there is silence, that is not a peace. There is something more. And medically, all the more complicated. Peace means opposite of anxiety. Anxiety means there is some chemical like GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid there. If that level changes, it is either producing anxiety or opposite, that is the anger. Because of this GABA, electrical waves go on increasing, EEG changes. And all these things lead to disturbing the tranquility. If a mother puts hand on his child or her child, there are release of endorphins, the painkillers in the body that calms it down. Body has these biochemical mechanisms. So a medical person will talk more in the medical terminology, whether it is a biochemical, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and all that. But if you connect this to immunity, yes, all these neurotransmitters also affect the T cell immunity or B cell immunity. It is known. It is a medically proved fact. So in yoga, again, the question is many times asked that, does it really help in the COVID or like that? Yes, answer is yes, but it is not absolute yes also. When the COVID started, people felt that by doing yoga, you will prevent COVID. No, it is a treatment. Okay, it is an added thing. But yes, certainly it can help. And you can explain how it will help. How using the biological mechanism, you can definitely help that. So what happened that yes, there was a lot of saying, advertisement that yes, yoga will prevent the COVID. in first wave when it come, it was not really successful. But immune boosters, those decoctions, all these things did help. But still, that rasayanas were there. But to identify proper rasayana, that did not happen in our India. People went on few products, I will not name them and all that. That is a science by itself, little controversial because we are not successful. But I'm happy that we have found that. But we are not going by that pandemic speed to put it in the market immediately. But yes, we have done it. We could find a proper rasayana. So that was there, but yoga was at least helping the COVID patient to recover little faster or not to suffer too much. But at the same time, so it was a sort of a supportive thing. Now, this biggest example is when there was a problem of oxygen, the most reputed doctor told, please have the position, change the position, lie down on your chest on the other side. I think everybody remembers, and they were advised, and it will increase your oxygen level. What we are talking is asanas now. That is also one of the asanas. And yes, now when the post-COVID era has come, 5 asanas are recommended: Pranavayu, Matsyasana, Viprita Karan, Utsasan, and Garunasana. See, now there is a science behind it, how different asana will help. So this is what is the yoga. But I personally feel that more than this, what has emerged is the mental complications or the respiratory problems, and they can certainly be, the yoga and meditation will certainly help. There is no question. Rather, more than last year when we said that it will treat the patient, no, it will help. But post-COVID complication, probably I have a confidence that yoga and meditation will be a science or will be a treatment for these patients. And that is the only way that one can lead a healthy life. Otherwise also, if nothing is like a COVID, one has not suffered. If you really go in the science of the yoga, it is there. There are few medical reports also coming, but it is there. How to manage, how to do that, it is going to call what we call as a new normal. IIHMR may start thinking to have a new cell for this new normal of health, including yoga. So with these words, I compliment once again all the 3 institutes who have joined together, IIHMR, Ramaiah University of Applied Health Sciences, and Heartfulness Institute, to have such a wonderful program. I wish you all the best. And once again, thanks for giving me the chance to express about the yoga. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ramesh sir, for bringing together both the scientific and philosophical perspectives to this particular platform.
Thank you.
And also helping us understand the heart, brain, and the application of both for successfully rolling out any program. We look forward for more. Having begun with Sai Baba sir and Ramesh Goyalji, we now move on to have our panelists, the speakers for the day, beginning with Dr. Veronique Nicolai, Director, Heartfulness Yoga School. A brief introduction. She's a French pediatrician, yoga instructor, and meditation trainer of Heartfulness Meditation. We call her Dolly. So she started her journey in yoga and heartfulness meditation in France as a medical student. convinced that yoga and meditation are simple lifestyle adjustments that can bring about significant change in the field of health. She currently drives events and coaches on yoga and wellness, the Heartfulness Yoga School. These programs offer yoga and meditation as additional tools for prevention and recovery with particular attention to cancer patients. Settled in India with her family since 1999, she has been involved in many other heartfulness meditation workshops in the corporate world, universities, and hospitals. Since 2002, she has contributed to a program that teaches heartfulness meditation and the philosophy of Raja Yoga to practitioners from all over the world. She is actively involved in spearheading the program Yoga for Unity and Well-Being, a 100-day program being organized under the auspices of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, in collaboration with United Nations Information Center and the Association of Indian Universities and over 40 key leading yoga institutions worldwide. Inaugurated by the Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind, and extended till the 21st of June, the International Day of Yoga. It's an initiative of leading yoga institutions and schools who have come together to present the best that yoga has to offer with the message of unity and harmony. Amidst all your hectic schedule, we thank you for joining us. We look forward for your talk today on science of yoga. Please, Dolly.
Namaste. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanking first Dr. Ramesh Goyal, Dr. Sodani, Dr. Sai Baba, and of course, Sailaja for having me on this panel. I feel I've been quite introduced by all the already speakers before, you know, being one of the Westerners who discovered yoga from France, and you know, I've been practicing for more than 25 years and decided to move to India to get to know more. So yes, yoga has really reached out to many, many countries. Many people have taken these practices, and it made a change in our lives. So for us to be, you know, very often people are asking, how come you're doing yoga and you're not Indian, and I'm Indian and I'm not doing yoga? So this has been a interrogation to some people. I know in this panel, I don't have to convince anybody that yoga can bring something, you know, to the whole, it's more than, it's beyond wellness for sure. I do hope that some of the attendees and participants will look into it and try to practice. There's obviously nothing we can do to talk about it. We're all convinced in this panel that this is good, and I really would like to practice. So if you don't mind, I would like to start with a little bit of practice. I have decided, so my topic is the science of yoga. There's so much to do. In half an hour, I will take only one angle to this. We've already heard quite a lot about the science behind, you know, from the Sitokin. We will hear about wellness from Dr. Krishnamurthy, and also the mind. So we'll have different angles. And I have decided to look just at Pranavayu. So thank you for the introduction to this idea and the idea of prana. So first thing I would like you to do is first to sit straight on your chair, wherever you are seated, no need to change, with your spine straight, which is an important element in yoga always, and shoulders relaxed. If you can, just get away from your back seat so that your spine is straight. And I would like just you to check right now your breathing and see how you're breathing right now. So if you can just close your nostril one at a time and check if there's one nostril that seems to be breathing better than the other. Okay. Inhale and exhale from one side. Inhale and exhale from the other side, and take a mental note for yourself. What is the nostril that's dominant right now? It doesn't mean that it is dominant, you know, the one that's dominant for you all the time. If you've tried this and if you want to try this again during the day, you will see that it changes. And to do that, we're going to do a little practice, a very short practice of one of the well-known pranayamas. I would like you to try to do Kapalabhati. Okay, so maybe some of you know already what it is. If you don't, I would like you to try with me. And for that, we're going to use one of the things that all of us know how to do. It is laughing. Okay, so when you place your hand on your abdomen, please sit straight again, you know, place your hand on your abdomen, open the mouth and just say, ha, 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 ha. Okay, can you feel that your abdomen is contracting? Ha, 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 ha. That's the principle of Kapalabhati. But we're not going to make a sound right now. We're going to close our mouth and do the same, exhaling from both the nostril at the same time. Can you do this? Yes? So let's try to do it and to do pumping like this, 20 pumping together. We'll take first a deep inhalation. From this deep inhalation, we start. Deep inhalation and exhale. One more time, deep inhalation and exhale. And we will do one more time, deep inhalation. Let's try to do 25 pumping. Let's start. You can smile. And deep inhalation and deep exhalation. Now breathe normally, close your eyes. Just try to feel how you feel at all levels. Maybe you can feel some little tingling, it happens. Some people might feel a little dizzy with this exercise. Gently open your eyes. And now I want you to check again your nostrils. Check. Left side, right side. Is there a difference? So where, you know, some people maybe have been on the left side before or on the right side before, and or maybe you were already, you know, balanced in both nostrils. I would like you to note if just with this 1 minute exercise, there was a difference in your breathing. Well, all this is related to prana, the energy. So let me share a few slides. I want to touch, is my screen visible to all? Yes? Okay. So we did a little bit of practice, and smile adds to everything we do. So whatever you do in yoga, I really encourage you to add a smile always. And so when we were looking at yoga, we were looking at actually what Patanjali defines as yoga, with the 8 limbs from the yama niyamas, the let's say the values, you know, that establish yoga into our behavior with ourselves or with the rest of our community. Asanas, of course, is the most important part that comes to the people's mind when we talk about yoga. And just now we touched a little bit about pranayama or breath regulation, but there's much more than that. And If we go into the highest spheres, I would say, of yoga, we really go to the center, the most beautiful tool of our wonderful system, wonderful body, which is the mind. And for that, there are different tools like pratyahara, the inner learning to take your senses in, dharana, that develops focus, and dhyana, which is definitely the tool of yoga, the introspection, the meditation part that allows us to go to a state of bliss that we've just been listening to. We've been talking about that. So how is this wellness possible? Well, this is really the plan, the roadmap that Patanjali has given us. And so one of the aspects in this science I wanted to touch with you, because I feel it's very practical to understand. And if I want to kind of invite or maybe convince people to try yoga, I think taking the understanding of what prana is and how it works is definitely the fastest. So prana means not only breath, and is definitely related to breath, but we're really speaking about our vitality. And that's our power, that's our energy, vital energy. And it sustains everything around us, everything in the universe, everything inside us, from movement to the physiology, the metabolism, to the thought, to the imagination, emotions. Everything is sustained by prana. Your prana is, the substratum of all the energy movement that happens in your body. No prana, you're just a corpse. Prana, everything is possible. And that's why there was so much emphasis on this, on this practice. Now it's definitely a subtle practice. And if you look at what is prana, we just heard about pranavayu. They are, and I know that I'm speaking to scientific and people in the health field here. So it's interesting to look at it from the Ayurvedic and yogic point of view, like 5 different manifestations, 5 different physiology. And you can see that this prana can be divided into 5 movements that have a different location and a different function. But please understand that it's the same vital energy that sustains everything. Okay, one will be more for absorption, one will have, some upper movement. Vyanavayu will pervade the entire body and sustain the entire thing. Samana is about assimilation. You will find it in the stomach, essentially. And apana is the downward movement. That's just by the way. I really want to take you to the most important thing. This is the nadis. So that's the channels where this fine energy is circulating. It's not something that you can see, but we can say that it follows a lot of our nervous system too. There's a lot of relationship between the nadis, circulation of prana, and the nerves, the plexuses, and also the hormonal system, which is quite interesting, for me as a pediatrician, when I felt that the science of yoga actually was going deeper and more into a finer understanding of what our body is and how it works. And if I can say that, but allopathic background, my allopathic education really allows me to find proof into something that yogis had already discovered, practiced, and taught for thousands of years. So this is the angle I wanted to take with you today. The idea of Pingala and Ida. Okay, these are 2 Sanskrit names, and they defined the 2 different systems that regulate and balance our body. So Pingala is linked to the sympathetic system and Ida to the parasympathetic system. Both these nadis, they are important nadis. They actually, as you can see, they start from the Muladhara chakra. They are linked to the chakras, energetic centers, and they flow upwards, and they converge into some centers, energetic centers. But what is interesting is that they end up in our nostrils. And our left nostrils is linked to Ida, parasympathetic system. And our right nostril is linked to Pingala, the sympathetic system. Okay. When we talk about Ida and Pingala, we also talk really about Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga means moon and sun. So when we speak about yoga, we speak about duality, balancing duality and going beyond duality towards unity. So this duality, it has many, many, many aspects. I want to take this one because it's the one that we can feel already, in ourselves very quickly. And also we can work on it and feel the effect of this on these two systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So the sympathetic system, I think you all know about this. What does it do? This is linked to stress, obviously, but if you look at it from an evolutionary point of view, that's the first system, in the brain development that is necessary even for a newborn. The newborn needs to go through a stage where the sympathetic system is more active to be able to come out first, of the womb, then lift the head, roll, suck. All these things are part of, this survival instincts that we have. Sympathetic system is necessary. It is necessary, but only to some extent. Okay, this is the one that allows us to survive. So obviously, it's important. The problem is when this sympathetic system is overstimulated. And then when it becomes too much stimulated and all the time chronically stimulated, we enter into something that's called distress. Okay, and you can see the problems on the heart, the lungs, of course, our muscles, they need to allow us to run, but the digestive system and the reproductive system are shut down. And our glucose level is increased because we need to be into action. We are in this fight and flight response. So left side Ida is the parasympathetic system. And as you know, it is the exact opposite of the other one. So those two systems, they are, balancing each other. And if one is higher, the other one is lower. So what does yoga do? At the base, it balances. It helps you to re-establish the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, so how does yoga do that? It does that at so many levels. And that's why it's very interesting to study. It does that at the physical level, especially with the asanas. Each asana that you will do will allow to reestablish the balance. It will allow to nourish and stimulate not only your muscles, it's not at all only a muscle exercise, it also stimulates all your organs, and especially your hormonal organs, so all your glands. I've put a word here on my slide, which means cleansing, because the first principle of yoga is to help you to detox, to get rid of whatever has affected you. So at the asana level, we know very well that the movements that we can do through asanas can allow blockages to go, can allow, muscle spasms to go, and deeper into the organs, it allows those organs to function better. At the physiological level, asanas work, kriyas will go a little deeper. Okay, all the cleansing principles that you have will also allow, your physiology to work better, the balance in your organ to work better. Our body is extremely intelligent. The more we study it, the more we feel that it has its own natural intelligence. And what we really should try to do is to tap into this, not to try to hide symptoms, but to try to, remove whatever is disturbing That's the cleansing part. And nourish the good part in our system that's ready to do it. Even we were talking about apoptosis. This is also part of a normal cleansing detox process in our cell systems. You know, the wrong cells, they need to go. So all this yoga actually deals with this at all the levels. It's quite amazing. On the energetical level, this is where pranayama works. And that's why I like to take this as a point of entry, because energy sustains everything else. So it will, you know, you will feel more energetic and you can feel that immediately. And of course, if you practice for a longer time, you will feel that it actually helps you in the long run. And at the mental level, there are a lot of you know, meditation that are tried. The most efficient thing that I have found in my search and in my life was definitely the heartfulness cleaning. I do not think that we will have the time to do that, but if you want to know more, you can always go on the Heartfulness website and practice with that. This is something that has completely changed my life and actually hooked me to the system of heartfulness for this, for its efficacy, because it's very difficult to touch that deep into our system. But if we touch that deep, then the rest of the layers, you know, this energetical layer, this physiological layer, this physical layer will be affected positively. So the deeper we can go into the, you know, the science of yoga, the deeper we can go with the practices, the deepest the effect, and also the it will be very long lasting. So it's a very nice combination of practices. This is just the cleansing part. There is also a nourishing part in yoga that I'm not touching on this presentation. Just to tell you a little bit about pranayama. So pranayama can be used to balance our system. It can be used to energize, which is the one we've done together. Okay, the Kapalabhati part allows you to really energize yourself. And if you have done the exercise with me, and if you have felt a difference in your nostrils, you know, maybe you were more in a sleepy mood beginning of the afternoon, so your left side would have been more activated at that time. Doing Kapalabhati, I hope gave you the result of opening both the nostrils, you know, and feeling more energetic. So that's the trick, you know, that we can use whenever we are a bit tired, a bit down, and we need to be there, we need to be efficient. We can use pranayama to enhance this energy. There are calming pranayamas like Bhramari pranayama, and pranayama also improves your focus, which is very interesting when we have to study, of course. And it has a cleansing purpose of, you know, because it involves the lungs, and you know that the lungs is also part of the organs of detoxification, removing CO2. This also helps in pranayama, and that's why it is so helpful in the period of COVID too. We need to work on this lung system so that the entire system can also be detoxified. So these are some of the pranayamas that you can practice. We have done Kapalabhati together, which is a just a simple energetic technique. And so what I would like, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Yes. And so to come back on how, you know, yoga works, so you can see that from the pranayama perspective, you know, it works on this parasympathetic and sympathetic system, allowing the balance. This is really, for me, a discovery that yoga helps your own body to find this intelligence back, the inner intelligence that we have, and allows this, you know, the tools that we actually have to do what they are supposed to do, and that very often have been stopped by whatever is happening on the outside. It can be something traumatic, or it can be an emotional thing, or like in COVID, you know, you can be affected by a virus, but also by the situation itself. And for that, the beauty of yoga is that it is simple. Everybody can practice this all over the world. It doesn't cost anything. We need to know only a few of the interesting techniques, and it really works into balancing. So for COVID, it's really been an amazing tool to provide people with yoga. And we've seen for past 1.5 years that the search, you know, for yoga practices, and especially meditation, has increased, you know, tenfolds, because people were inside. You can't go outside. What can you do? Well, you can roll your mat out and do yoga. So that was really something that brought even more awareness into what yoga can do. And I would like to end this session today by really insisting that, I think Dr. Sai Baba was just talking about how yoga can, sorry, it was Dr. Sodani. You know, how can we manage our time better so that we can learn to do yoga? Well, in my experience, when I do yoga, I actually manage my time much better. And that's been a discovery that I've done during my studies when I was studying, you know, medical student. And when you have so many things to do and so much stress and night duties, and you really wonder how you're going to manage everything in 24 hours or in the 7 days that are in front of you. Well, when you do yoga, these masters in yoga, these gurus, they were so they were really masters in everything. And when we mean masters in everything, master in time was really something that they managed. So they would not use anything for nothing. They would use the minimum inputs for maximum output. And if there's something that for me yoga is, it is that. Learning how to put minimum energy to get the maximum one. So minimum money to minimum resources, minimum space. You just need your mat, you know, and you just need yourself. And by doing this practice, you really learn how to manage everything else in a best way. Focus happens, you know, especially with the higher practices like meditation. So heartfulness specializes on that. And it really helps you to manage your time better, to be more efficient, and to excel into whatever you do. So it's really about global health. I think if you feel, you know, that you are doing something better, that you are becoming better at what you can do with all the gifts that nature has given you, then it really brings that happiness that we're looking at, that wellness, you know, that we're looking at in our society. So during this time of COVID, I think yoga is something that I really am happy when I can share and ask people to try and to not talk about it, but please try. Make it not a habit yet, just try it and make it an experience, and decide if, yes, this is something that you would like to pursue. Okay, it has a lot of science behind it, and well, I hope you will be interested to look into the science behind yoga at all the levels. I thank you all for this time with you, and give it back to Sailaja. Thank you very much.
That's so wonderful. Thank you, Dolly, for all the tidbits. And I like this part, like you can't do anything else, sitting inside, roll your mat out and do yoga. It's like, it was reminding me that we used to get during this lockdown days, you know, it's like, if you can't go out, go inwards. So many messages, this it went viral on WhatsApp actually. And in fact, I wish we had time for the cleaning technique which you were sharing, which also happened to be very effective with most of us. It does help, and there's such a huge relief we feel when we do it. And maybe sometime in future, given the time challenge we have. Thank you for summing up on the science of yoga, the quick exercises about Hatha Yoga, the effect of yoga on physical, physiological, mental, and energetic level. You've touched upon so many things. Thank you for that. And we now request our next speaker for the day, Nivedita Di. Please share her talk. Before that, I would like to introduce her. Nivedita Raghunath Bide is the Vice President of Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari. She's been awarded Padma Shri for her immense contribution to the social work on March 30th, 2017. She has written over 15 books, including Yoga, The Way of Life, based on the vision of oneness. She has presented papers in national and international seminars and given lectures in IITs and universities, including Kansas University in the USA. She has represented India in seminar on Swami Vivekananda, conducted by the Indian Council of Cultural Relations in 2013 at Melbourne, Australia. She has participated in the international meeting of educational experts at Darwin, Australia, convened by UNESCO for the Asia Pacific region in 1999. And all this apart, on the personal front, the more I shared about what Kendra has done, Vivekananda Kendra, at the grassroots level, all over the country in general, and specifically in Northeast, it stands out to me for the rest of my life. Raja Yoga, I had the opportunity to learn from Heartfulness Institute. What is Karma Yoga? I had seen with Vivekananda Kendra the selflessness with which they work, reaching out to every family out there, providing them education. I think they're trying to cater to everything which Swami Vivekananda mentions on the levels of service. Giving food and clothes is one level of service, providing education is next level of service. And introducing a person to his own self is the ultimate service. Vivekananda Kendra and Heartfulness Institute, I'm extremely glad we have them both here. Both these organizations are selflessly doing this. And I'm all the more eager to listen to Vivekananda. Nivedita Di, Vivekananda, they're more or less like synonyms for me and most of us. And I had seen Nivedita Di personally. She was like, the more you talk about her, the less it would be. I would just want to listen to her. Didi, over to you.
My namaskars to all the faculties of IIHMR, students, invited guests, and the panelists who are not just scholars, but practitioners. So my namaskars to you all. I have been asked to share with you few thoughts on yoga, a way of life in post-COVID world. Now at the outset, I would like to tell that we are not yet in post-COVID situation. We are still in COVID situation. And if we are reading the reports regarding the virus and its possibilities and the variant it takes, the spikes and all that, or how its journey started from the caves to the China, Wuhan lab to the world and all that. Maybe this is going to be for a few more years. Maybe, we do not know. So this is still uncertain. So we cannot strictly say that we are in post-COVID situation. But of course, we are in a way in a situation where we understand what COVID-19's challenges are, how we can take upon it, how we can prepare if there are any further challenges which come out of this virus, or waves if we want to say. So few things we have understood. I'll just take 3 things of that. The one is the immunity. So I know because our Karyakartas are working in various places. So there are some who work amidst the COVID patients and nothing happens to them. There are some who stay only in the house and yet they get the COVID. So one is immunity. The second is, after you are affected, how fast you can recover, or your lungs can recover, or whatever all the after effects, you have capacity to bounce back. And third, I will say that it is, as it was very nicely put by our earlier speaker, Veronique, Dr. Veronique, that when we were confined, you know, many use that opportunity to go within. But in this, there is one more thing. This is what the issues which came up. But we also saw another side of human being. That is the fear of disease. You know, human being is not ready, a person was not ready even to go and touch his father, his mother, or his children. So the fear of disease, which comes because of the fear of death. This is so surprising that a land which talks of Amrutasya Putraha, where the Rishis gave the call, Shrunvantu Vishwe Amrutasya Putraha, there we had fear of death. And third, we also found that this situation brought out the best and the worst from the people. If they had inner strength, if they had proper vision of life, if they had values in life, you know, they went out, they worked, they supported the people. If not, we also saw that they just wanted to make the best of the worst situation. That is, they hoarded, they tried to earn money, they tried to loot. So a question comes, why does it happen? So somewhere the molding of man matters very much to face such situations. If the molding of man is not proper, you know, you may have any number of hospitals or all the facilities, but unless the man, the root cause of everything, or the cause of everything is not proper, the things will not work out proper. And therefore, here when we say the good and best from the persons, so we come, it means how are we leading the life, so that when the difficult situation comes in life, how do we respond? Do the worst in me gets manifested, or the best in me gets manifested? That is where yoga is to be seen as way of life. But when we say way of life, you know, it is only half, I will say, the terminology, because everything is way of life. Even a dacoit has its own way of life. Every person has his own way of life. So yoga is not just a way of life. It is a way of life based on the Vedic vision of oneness of existence. Unless this oneness of existence is understood, inculcated, internalized, you know, the best in man will not be manifested. So yoga is a way of life based on the oneness of existence. We just now saw Dr. Veronique, she showed us the Ashtanga Yoga, 8 angas of yoga. Angas, angas is a very important word. He does not say 8 steps. They are not steps. That is, you practice yama, then you leave it, then you go to niyama, then you go to asana, pranayam. It's not like that. It is 8 angas, means all have to be practiced. all we should be practicing everything. But in that, Patanjali Rishi says, for Yama, he says, Ete jati desha kala samayan avachinnaha sarvabhauma mahavratam. Means these yamas should always, they are to be practiced. This, they are sarvabhauma mahavratam. वो सार्वभौमिक है, always are to be practiced in each place, whatever may be your age, your community, your time, your designation, whatever it may be, the yamas are to be practiced always. That is what way of life. And what are the yamas? We know Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. We are not going into the details of it, because each in itself is something very revealing. It's not that just as we understand it. Unfortunately, yoga means people think only asana pranayam, at the most little bit of meditation. But yoga is not that. It is 24/7. Every moment, how I am behaving with others, how I am looking at myself, what are my aspirations, what are my responses? How do I take on life, on difficulties? How do I look around those, look towards those who are around me? Everything matters. So this gets covered in Yama, Niyama. They decide our interaction with the outside world and also our inner thoughts. And then nurturing of the body, mind, and then going deep within starts with asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Now coming to this, when we say yoga is a way of life, naturally a question may come. Okay, then which yoga you mean? Whether it is Hatha Yoga, whether it is Raja Yoga, whether it is Karma Yoga, whether it is Bhakti Yoga, whether it is Jnana Yoga. So, the founder of Vivekananda Kendra, Eknathji Ranade, who got this grand Vivekananda Rock Memorial built in 1970 with the help of the whole nation. So he used to ask us the question. He used to ask that how many seas are there in Kanyakumari? And we used to think such a simple question, and we used to tell 3 seas. We all are taught since childhood. There are 3 seas in Kanyakumari. Then he used to say, think well and again answer. How many seas are there in Kanyakumari? And only then when we think, we know the sea is only one. Only when I stand at the western side, I call it Arabian Sea. When I stand at the eastern side, I say it is Bay of Bengal. Or when I stand and look at the southern side, we say it is Indian Ocean. But actually the ocean, the sea is one. It's not different. Similarly, yoga is one. You cannot practice karma yoga giving up all the other thing, or Raja Yoga by giving up all other thing. It has to be the integral approach to the practice of yoga. So when we say integral approach, just few things we shall see. The first, take care of your actions. Each and every moment we are acting. Acting means not acting, I am saying. We are performing action each and every moment. Someone says, no, I am not performing any action. I am just sitting. Even sitting is an action. I am meditating. Even meditating is an action. Someone says, I am worshipping. Even worshipping is an action. I am practicing asanas. Everything is an action. And this action is very problematic. Problematic in the sense, if I perform the action, I have so many things involved in that. Either expectation is involved, or irritation, everything. And therefore, my every action becomes the cause for further actions in life. It further propels me either to behave this way or that way. So each action becomes the further bondage. So can I be without action? Krishna says, no. Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishthatya karmakrit. You just cannot be without any action. Now what is to be done? Actually, then he says, Gahana karmano gatihi. This karma is just like a key. You know, key we know. With key, you can open the door, you can close the door. So same way, this action is such, if you properly perform, you open up your personality. You know that yujjate anena iti yogaha, jivatma becoming one with Paramatma is possible. Or if you turn it other way, that jivatma becomes still further and further constricted, narrowed down. My I becomes so small. Sometimes the I includes family. Sometimes that I includes only me. And unfortunately today that I gets identified only with the clothes that I wear. So whether I go, whether I will be all right, you know, we know that advertisement of Raymond suiting. They say the Raymond suiting makes you a complete man. So not our inner joy or inner Atman that manifest makes me complete. But what makes complete? The Raymond suiting makes you a complete man. So in Kanyakumari, you know, we have many camps. So sometimes Yoga Shiksha Shibir, spiritual retreat. So I generally chit chat with them. So one person was telling me that, Didi, I liked it here very much. Whenever anyone says that, I ask, Acha, what do you like? So I asked him, he said, you know, there is no tension. I asked, what tension you don't have here? No tension whether my clothes will be appreciated by others or not. Such a simple thing. But we get tension. You know, the tensions, the stress is built up for these small things. I went there, he did not look at me. You know, I helped her so much. Today, she doesn't even wish me when I walk on the campus. And so many things. So small things we keep on holding together, and that we make our personality, you know, warped. But Krishna says that Swakarmana tamabhyarcha, really you can worship that Paramatman which pervades everywhere with your action. It means don't tag the action. What does it mean? You know, anytime I am performing any action, I tag a price on that. So I must get name, I must get fame. You know, someone should appreciate me. Immediately they must say, oh, your song was very beautiful. Your speech was very nice. That day, how well you conducted the meeting. Every time expectation. Every time we had tagged it, you know, with a price. I want this out of this. If you go to a shop, you know, shopkeeper is trying to sell you, let us say he's trying to sell you a shirt. And he has tagged the shirt with a price rupees 800. You go in the shop. You like that shirt. Now you want to purchase the shirt. You think in mind it must be at least 1000 rupees. So you ask the shopkeeper and then he shows the price tag. Price tag, it is written 800. As soon as you see the price tag, do you tell the shopkeeper, hey, why you are selling at 800? I thought it must be at least 1000. So please, I will give you 1000. Will any customer say that? The customer will say on the top of it, he will say, 800 you are saying? In that other shop that day, I had seen for 600. And he will go on bargaining and bargaining. And ultimately the shopkeeper will get at the most 800 or less than that. Please understand. Once the shopkeeper has tagged a price on the goods, he will get only that and nothing more than that. Same way, once I tag a price to my action, it could be any action, then I can get only that much and not more than that. But Krishna says, your karma can become your connection with Ishvara. You know, any puja that we perform, what do we say? Ishvara Prityartham. You see the sankalpa in any puja. It is always Ishvara Prityartham. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra also, in Kriya Yoga as well as in Niyama. Patanjali says, Ishvara Pranidhanam. Whatever we are doing is to offer it to Ishvara. Once I offer to Ishvara, you know, whatever comes is prasada. I don't get agitated by that. So this is a way of performing action. The second is surrender. You know, in life, there is no point in worrying. It happened like that, it happened like that. Or what will happen? Will I get certificate? Will I get marks? Will I pass? Will this happen? Will that happen? All this continuous expectation, we are living in future. We are worrying or we are brooding over, we are living in the past. And that's how the present is slipping from our hand. But the real yoga way of life is means living here and now. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. Just at this moment, what I am supposed to do it to the best of your ability and offer it to Ishvara. Whatever has to happen, happen. If I am supposed to die, whatever I may do, I am going to die. And if I am not going to die, I will not die. Have that faith. And death is not death. It is just, you know, changing the clothes. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunnati naroparani. And it's not just a Gita philosophy. This is what it is practiced in our country. It was internalized. It is internalized even still by so many. I was reading long back one article in Prabuddha Bharat of Ramakrishna Mission. One foreigner, he said, when I went to Varanasi, I was told here old people come to wait for death. You know, I was afraid to look into their into their eyes. Imagine a person waiting for death. How fearful his eyes will be. He said, I was afraid, I didn't look. But more I understood India, in my 5th visit, I dared to look into their eyes and I started conversation with them and I found there was just peace. Time has come to give up the body, it is to be given up, that's all. He said, it was so elevating experience for me. How can we have a fear of death when we know the Atman has no death? And if this body, when it will go, it is decided. If it has to go, it will go. So complete surrender, sharanagati to Ishvara. And that Ishvara is not somewhere sitting in a corner. He is everywhere. He is manifested as my family, as my society, as my nation, and the whole creation. So how should I live the life? It is yoga is a twofold sadhana. You know, one is whatever action I perform, it brings harmony in my family, in my institution, in my university, in my society, in my locality, in my country, and for the nature, it brings harmony. So always I will choose such action which brings harmony and which elevates me. This is what is choice in action, which Krishna talks about. Karmani eva adhikaraha te. Every time, if someone talks something hurtingly to me, I always have a choice, whether I will give him back, whether I will sulk, whether I will go in depression, or a matured way, I can just digest it. I have a choice. This choice I have to exercise so that the harmony in all these samashti collectives is maintained. And secondly, I elevate myself. So this is what twofold sadhana, continuously it has to go. But to do that, you know, we have to somewhere train ourselves. And that is where, you know, the swadhyaya comes. That is where the practice of asana, pranayam, meditation comes, which has to be very regular. You cannot say that, oh, every Sunday I will do pranayam. It is not like that. You know, Patanjali Rishi says, Satu Dirgha Kala, Nairyantarya, Satkara Sevito Drudha Bhumihi. How it is to be practiced? Dirgha Kala, Nairyantarya. Usme kuch antar nahi hona hai. There should be no gaps. And Satkara Sevito, with complete conviction, Shraddha, I take to it. Because I know this is not some speculative philosophy, but it is experiential science. It is practiced. ये तर्क शुद्ध है, ये अनुभव सिद्ध है, ये शास्त्र शुद्ध है. ऐसा यह शास्त्र है, ऐसा यह जीवन जीने का शास्त्र है. So I have to leave it like that. Satkara sevito drudha bhumihi, and that is how our practice should be. Because again coming back, to the truth of existence. You know, Swami Vivekananda's one very remarkable quotation is there. He says, the truth does not pay homage to society. The society has to pay homage to truth or perish. The truth does not pay homage to society. And what is the truth of this whole existence? It is interconnected, interrelated, interdependent. A man may want to be selfish, individualistic. A society may want to be like that. Okay, you be, but then it is at your own peril, perish. Because the whole existence is interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. This is the truth of existence. And you know, he gives one very beautiful example. He says, for example, on earth, gravitational force is the truth of existence. Now there is a person who climbs, you know, let us say 7th floor, and he says, oh, I don't accept this gravitation force. So when I jump, I will not go down. I want to go up. Ultimately, he may go up, but his body will come down. Because you are part of this existence, the truth of this existence will work on you. So man in his selfishness, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, dharma and moksha we forgot. That ultimately we have to realize our divine nature. We forgot. I have a duty to perform to all these collectives. We forgot. And if we are living for artha and kama, a coronavirus has to come to awaken us. Whether it was designed by man or came by nature, that is immaterial. But in this situation, it had to come, some course correction. This Mother Earth does herself. And if these lessons of COVID-19, if we really understand, then our future life, you know, that course correction will take place. We will be more a caring and sharing society. We will have regularity in yoga practice. We shall not have the fear of death or even a fear of disease. You know, only yesterday I was reading something about DNA. That and another book which earlier I had read, Biology of Belief. Very interesting book. So in that he says, our genes have all the possibilities in the world. But how the genes will respond, you know, means what possibility will manifest, it depends on my response to the situation. So if I tell myself you are not going to entertain the coronavirus, it is possible it can happen. This is possible. And this is what we train our body, mind, intellect. We learn to look within, and what electrons and cells are in my body, you know, they are all over the world. Everything is interacting with each other. Those who have studied quantum entanglement, they know that world is not local. You know, it's all one. And this oneness, if we inculcate and live, then our each moment becomes a yoga way of life. And that is how we will have to do it. But to continuously inculcate, we must have some regular practices of asana, pranayam, meditation, swadhyaya, contemplation. And let us have that. Only then, whether post-COVID or whatever comes, we will be able to not only face the situation, but we shall fulfill the purpose of human life, that is raising ourselves. And we shall also fulfill the purpose of this nation, India, which has, you know, which is destined to give this spiritual knowledge to the world. And it can be given only if it is practiced. So let us practice it and make our life great, and let India make her contribution for the survival and the spiritual evolution of the humanity. With these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was happily taken back to days at Kendra, and I do endorse to what one of our brothers said. We really don't need Raymonds at Kendra. We can just be ourselves, and definitely those days are one of the most memorable, and the storytelling part, it once again reminded me of how Kendra workers put all the values very simply and very understandably, also reinforcing Sai Baba Sir's thoughts that what goes around comes around to create harmony in nature, and that our karma can become a connection to Almighty, and the integral approach to yoga, that it's not karma yoga, raja yoga, bhakti yoga, but it's all integral one. That's what the Global Guide of Heartfulness, Daji, also tries to bring into practice. It was amazing listening to you. Thanks a lot for sparing your time for us. Really, really cherish your talk. Thank you for joining me, Veditadi. We now have our next speaker for the day, Dr. Krishnamurthy Jaina, who will be discussing about yoga as part of integral lifestyle for sustainable well-being. Prior to that, a brief introduction. Krishnamurthy is communal and development space for around 2 decades. His program and research interests revolve around quality of care, quality of life, and well-being. He has experience working in the context of reproductive, maternal, neonatal, and child health, infectious diseases, early childhood development, primary health care, non-communicable diseases, and nutrition. Currently, he works as Dean of Faculty of Life and Allied Health Sciences at Ramaiah University of Science, where he teaches public life and health sciences. Same faculty position with the Department of Community Health Sciences, University of Manitoba, Canada. Currently, he is on the senior advisory team of Karnataka Health Promotion Trust and also the site coordinator for a global health training program that trains PhD and postdoctoral fellows from across 4 countries: India, Canada, Kenya, and Colombia. In the past, he was a part of the global health team of University of Manitoba and India Health Association Action Trust, and was involved in their projects across India, Africa, and Caribbean. In the last 5 years, he's focusing on interventions that impact lifestyle and quality of life through 2 approaches: integrative health and applied neurosciences. He founded Center for Integrative Health and Well-Being, where he guides and mentors a multidisciplinary team of Ayurveda physicians, yoga and meditation instructors, as well as health educators to support clients in adopting an integrative approach to lifestyle change. He has published a book to inspire and support people in adopting an integrative health and well-being lifestyle. He is a meditation practitioner himself and a certified trainer at Heartfulness Institute, which is a global non-profit organization offering free in 60 countries. As research advisor at Cognitive Skills Private Limited, he has supported applied neurosciences research related to child development and learning, well-being and lifestyles that impact brain health, and cognitive research in the middle-aged and elderly. He has published more than 75 publications that include journals, books, book chapters, reports, and white papers, participated as keynote speaker and an expert panelist in over 50 conferences and workshops of national and international repute. He has been a recipient of Karnataka Association of Community Health Young Scientist Award, National Level Impact Award, and Best Project Award in Health and WHO. He completed MBBS from Medical College and Research Institute, received training in research methods at World Health Organization Geneva, and also holds a postdoctoral research fellowship from Canada. Welcome, Dr. Krishna, for the program. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Shailaja. Just want to let you know your voice has been breaking on and off. Probably it's a bandwidth issue, I don't know. But thank you so much for organizing this, for inviting us. Truly, I think we're happy on behalf of Ramaiah University to collaborate with IHMR and Artfulness Institute in putting up such a nice panel. As I've been hearing to each of the panelists, it's been such a joy and learning. And also the range of speakers from science to philosophy. And I think it is a very, very enriching and truly multidisciplinary. That's the approach that it requires. And I'm looking at time as well. I know we've already, what is the time we have, Shailaja? You may want to let us know. Probably we can accordingly manage. Meanwhile, I'll just bring up a few slides I had in my mind to share. You think I have about 20 minutes?
Yes, please take your time. We requested each panelist for half an hour. So
Okay.
please go ahead.
Thank you. No, I think the topic was, how does yoga, how can it be a part of the integrative health and well-being lifestyle? And then
Yes.
I would also like to introduce everyone to the idea of integrative health and well-being lifestyle. And before that, maybe a few background slides I thought may be of help. Dear friends, colleagues, we know the WHO definition, right? Looking at health in a very complete, comprehensive sense, complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the disease, absence of disease or infirmity. Even the current sustainable development goals for the globe and SDG 3, which looks at health and well-being, it says that all countries need to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all by 2030. So if you see, even in the goal, the health and well-being, they both come together. Why is this well-being so important these days, as we've been referring to? If you look at the last 150 years, the average life expectancy across the globe has gone up. It was under 30 years 150 years ago, but now it's gone over 70 years on almost parts of the globe. Certainly with a lot of advances over the last decade, maybe vaccines, maybe public health infrastructure, maybe antibiotics, people are living longer now. At the same time, earlier when the leading cause of mortality used to be communicable diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, but now they're replaced by non-communicable diseases like hypertension, diabetes, cancers, mental health issues. Every now and then we still have pandemics, and COVID recently, it's taken such a huge toll and we're still going through it. And earlier this century, we had SARS and MERS, and every now and then communicable diseases still emerge as a leading priority, and still we haven't really been able to conquer as much. If you look at both non-communicable and communicable diseases, friends, I think within it you can see how our lifestyles that have changed over time, our behaviors, our practices, our work culture, our way of living, everything. And a lot of our mental thought, opinions, and perspectives, and everything has got a role to play, how we are succumbing to both non-communicable diseases as well as the communicable diseases. See, in this context, how do we achieve a holistic well-being? I think, what is holistic well-being? There's so many definitions. I think one of those, looking at physical, mental, emotional, and goes on up to spiritual, and not just with the individual, also the social. Right? So all sort of ideas are there. I think if we really review, there's a lot of literature around what really constitutes wellness or well-being. In this context, I would like to introduce this idea of integrative health and well-being lifestyle. This is something I've been studying for a while now. As Shailaja introduced, set up a center to really look at this, study this in depth, and at the same time help people adopt a holistic lifestyle. What is this integrative lifestyle that we are referring to? Basically, yes, we have modern medicine, which already has given us lifestyle recommendations in terms of diets, nutrition, balanced diet, physical activity, and exercises. How do we complement them with Ayurveda, with yoga, with meditation, and all come together? How can it help individuals achieve a more holistic lifestyle? That essentially is integrative health and well-being lifestyle. What are the 4 cardinal parts of integrative health and well-being lifestyle? One, as I said, modern medicine is still the foundation. There's a lot of evidence. Yes, no one school is thorough or perfect. I think this is the time to really look at what is the best between the various schools of healing and how do we bring them together. That's where the integrative medicine, integrative health, integrative research is heading towards. And from a modern medicine perspective, especially lifestyle medicine is an emerging science. There's a lot of interest these days. And particularly the American College of Lifestyle Medicine has come out with 6 important aspects. And we are all familiar. We have been doing it. We've been hearing about it. I'm sure most of WHO has given very good recommendations around some of these, be it the physical activity, managing stress, mental health, our relationships, having a good quality sleep. How do we avoid substance abuse, and diets and healthful eating? So all put together, there's a lot of evidence-based recommendations which are to be a part of lifestyle. And often when I say lifestyle, I think I'm sure all the panelists will agree with me. Even yoga, there are people who think of yoga when they fall sick, as Dr. Sai Baba mentioned earlier. But actually, yoga is not just for the disease. Yoga is not just for the physical body. It's much more, as our previous speakers, Dr. Veronik and Sister Nivedita ji, have been re-emphasizing. It's got the highest objective of all, the spiritual objective. So yoga is not just a practice or a lifestyle, but should become a way of life. And yoga cannot be taught only when we fall sick, but it has to be inculcated when at best at a young age, but no age is bar to starting it, but looking at it from a holistic point of view. That's where integrative lifestyle also, even the modern medicine recommendations, often people think of all these recommendations when after 40s, maybe when they're diagnosed with diabetes, hypertension. But why wait till then? Why not do it much before? Unfortunately, even in India, the childhood obesity, childhood diabetes is all emerging. Somewhere these lifestyle elements have to make inroads into families, into households way early. But that is the whole idea of the integrative lifestyle. And with modern medicine, a substantial part of it. Second part of the integrative lifestyle is Ayurveda. You may all be wondering why Ayurveda when we are discussing yoga, when we're discussing lifestyle. Ayurveda has a very unique teaching to offer. And those of you who may not be familiar, well, modern medicine recognizes everyone as the same, and we have standard recommendations for drugs, for even lifestyle recommendations. But Ayurveda goes one step beyond. Ayurveda recognizes each individual as unique. Each individual has formed with a very unique composition called Prakriti, constitution, which is formed at the time of birth, based on several factors, the constitutions of the parents, the time of birth, the climate, and the place, and the everything adds to the constitution. When this Prakriti, natural Prakriti that an individual is born with, whenever there's a deviation of it from the normal, it manifests as disease. So all Ayurvedic teaching, practice, science believes in restoring this Prakriti. And how does it do it? With a lot of lifestyle recommendations, again, dietary recommendations, yoga, asana recommendations. Ayurveda believes yoga asanas cannot be the same for all. For each constitution, there can be different types of asanas. There can be different ways of doing. For some, they may do very fast, some they may do slow. But who should do fast, how many number of times, and when, and all these things are decided by the constitution. Often I'm concerned when yoga is practiced very blindly as a one formula fitting all. Not really. It has to be customized to individuals. It has to be really thoughtfully planned. And that's where Ayurveda really assumes, because it establishes the constitution of an individual upon which the yoga asanas can become recommended later on. I don't want to talk much about yoga because we've been hearing from experts, we've been reading, and a lot of organizations coming together to reinforce this yoga. And with the International Day of Yoga, I think there's more awareness. Certainly, yoga is not just physical asanas. All our speakers have emphasized it. It should be rightly used to address holistic objectives and physical, emotional, and spiritual as well. And yoga has elements not just from a disease treatment, but also from a prevention and health promotion perspective as well. But learning yoga from the right trainer, learning the right type of yoga for the individual, and doing it the right way, I think is important, because we also see a lot of enthusiastic efforts at learning yoga and a lot of side effects as well. That should not happen. Yoga is a great science, should be learned from the right teacher and be practiced in the right manner. And these days, yoga therapy itself is an emerging science. A lot of research is happening in the Artfulness Institute is investing. S. Vyasa has been based on the physiological studies of yoga impacts blood pressure, the blood glucose, and yoga has also found to be a tool, a complementary treatment, not in isolation, but in complement with main treatments. Again, the yoga procedures, yoga asanas that can reduce blood pressure. There are also yoga asanas that can increase blood pressure. That's where I think we have to be cautious in what are the asanas for my constitution or for my ailment. So one has to be really apply their mind, jointly work with the trainer, and learn slowly, see whether it's having the right effect on the body, and then plan around. I think that is where yoga is again a part of lifestyle. Again, yoga, rather than doing it when things are gone beyond control, again start very young. That's the whole idea of integrative lifestyle. Meditation is another part of the four-pronged approach of integrative health and well-being lifestyle. Why meditation? Again, meditation is something that we all know addresses the root of ourselves, the deeper self. And that is the subjective self, the personal self, the higher self. And that has to be addressed as well. Even Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Ashtanga Raj Yoga, Dhyana, meditation is the seventh step of the 8-limb practice. So yoga is a very integral part of meditation is an integral part of yoga. And Ayurveda and yoga, they go hand in hand, ideally. So in one way, Ayurveda, yoga, dhyana, they are something that will address the unique requirements on the inside, and they should be looked at in toto. Again, a whole lot of research these days, how meditation is impacting stress, lifestyle management, work-life balance, improving quality of sleep, and a whole lot of studies are there. Especially artfulness and mindfulness meditation movements are big movements today. It's a very good thing. I think how more and more people are taking interest and embracing the life of meditation and yoga these days. So when we refer to yoga as a part of integrative lifestyle, I think, again, I'm also a public health expert. I'm a public health researcher. When we look at public health, there are three things important. Public health looks at prevention, gives a lot of importance to prevention. So yoga has got that preventative effect. Yoga is a preventive tool. We don't have to wait for hypertension or diabetes. If we really make yoga a part of our lifestyle, it addresses all the things that our body requires in terms of muscle strength, the lung capacity, the fitness, the vitality, right, cardiac, respiratory, and really this prevention efforts can be enhanced. And health promotion as well. I think we can sustain yoga as a part of routine health promotion, sustaining that optimal health, and of course, disease control. I would like to talk about one or two experiments that are going on currently within India. under government's Ayushman Bharat scheme, where there's an effort to set up health and wellness center at the grassroots. Now, a lot of experiments to take yoga at that level, establishing yoga schools, yoga training at the level of health and wellness subcenters, which is a great way forward to embed yoga as a part of the public health prevention and health promotion activities at the grassroots. That's where India, where we don't have dearth of yoga training institutions, we can really, when we come together in collaboration, we can certainly reach more and more people, inspire them to adopt yoga, dhyana as a part of their lifestyle very early in their lives. Again, yoga may start as a practice. It should not stop there. Again, our encouragement, inspiration to the yoga seekers, the yoga trainees, is to make it a part of their lifestyle. Again, when it comes to lifestyle, there is a holistic lifestyle. Yoga itself addresses holistically, but when yoga can be complemented with Ayurveda, dhyana, it's more enriching. Body, mind, soul gets that much more enrichment. And we can't stop with lifestyle as well. It has to move on to become a way of life. In fact, the whole Ayurveda, yoga, dhyana, they give a teaching which can become a part of our lives, to make it a part of our way of life. That's the whole goal. And that is essentially what we should also probably aim at. In fact, these are some of the thoughts I've tried to resonate in the book I published last year. It's called Science and Practice of Integrative Health and Wellbeing Lifestyle. Basically, what I've attempted here in this book is to look at the modern medicine elements of lifestyle, Ayurveda elements of lifestyle, the yoga and dhyana, and how to bring them together in a given 24-hour that we have in a very practical way. I think for those of you who want to explore more, I would definitely encourage you to read this. It's available on Amazon and Flipkart as well, both hard copy as well as e-copy. With that, what I would like to really say at this stage is, it's great when universities like IHMR or Ramaiah University joining hands with yoga institutions to come together and explore the philosophy and science in a joint venture. I think that is the need of the hour. People like reading philosophy, but today's world would also like to understand scientific validation of the philosophy. Philosophy is rich, and with the modern gadgets we have, scientific instruments we have, I think we are in a better position today compared to maybe many decades ago to bring the philosophy and science together and really give the world what it requires. Ultimately, a lot of people are interested, but we need to communicate to them the way they would like to understand. That calls for a lot of empathy amongst us, scientific community, the philosophy community, the religious and spiritual community, coming together and rightly distilling the knowledge that the audience requires. An audience will have diverse types, intellectual types, experiential types, scientific types, philosophical types, but we need to come together, distill the knowledge and give the audience what it requires. Ultimately, to inspire them to take up yoga and meditation. I'm sure once they start, once they experience, then they don't need philosophy or science, because their own experience will take them forward. That is the role that we have, the universities, the academia, and the yoga institutions. And I'm glad more and more of these forums are emerging these days. We'll be, I think, happy to support. And once again, congratulations, IHMR and other organizers for putting up this event. Thanks, Dr. Surani, Shailaja, and Tripathi for this opportunity. I'll stop here, and any questions or any comments, I'll be happy to take. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your sharing, and we do understand that approaching yoga from a preventive perspective and health promotion than merely for disease control is the need of the hour. And we're really grateful that we had Ramaiah University joining us to take this initiative forward, and surely we look forward for more collaborative programs in future. And we also have with us, Vibin sir from IIT Guwahati, who is more or less working towards the same end. And I'm really grateful being a student of his for science, towards spirituality through science. It's been pretty interesting. Vibin sir, I think you know Dr. Krishna already, otherwise, I just wanted to, we have a lot of other panelists also. We have Dr. Rashmi also to go. So we move, I would have loved to take some questions. Given the concern around the time we have, I'm afraid we have to move on to our next speaker. Vibin sir, thank you for joining the session. And we look forward for your talk. A brief introduction prior to that. Dr. Vibin is with the Department of Biosciences and Bioengineering, IIT Guwahati. His research interests include bio-nanotechnology, peptide-based antibiotics, computational biology, drug delivery vehicles, network biology. He is a recipient of Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award and Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award extension during the years 2007, 8, and 11 and 12. Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. He is a member of National Academy of Sciences, India, American Chemical Society, International Society for Computational Biology, USA, and Biophysical Society, USA. He has patents both at the international and national level to his credit, more than 40 publications, which includes research papers of international repute and book chapters. He presented papers at various national and international conferences and delivered invited lectures. He had been an editorial board member for scientific reports for the Nature Publishing Group from 2018 and a guest editor for the International Journal of Polymer Science. He's a certified trainer and practitioner of heartfulness meditation. He's an invited speaker at wellness programs such as faculty development programs on leadership excellence for academic development. Thanks a lot, Vibin sir, for joining us, for sparing us your time. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shailaja. I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes,
right?
it is visible.
Okay, all right. Thank you for a very generous introduction. What I am afraid of is that your introduction will be of more lengthy than my speech or my talk. So anyway, thank you so much, Shailaja. And I'm also thankful to Dr. Sodani, President of IIHMR. And I actually find it very fortunate to be in a panel of very elite speakers, very accomplished speakers. And I'm actually like kind of conscious that, I will be of standards that are very close to them, at least somewhat close to them. But anyway, there is some difference in the way in which I approach this particular talk. Is because I will be talking mostly technically, whereas most of the other speakers were using the platform technical and non-technical as well. Well, I would like to talk about the mind-brain-body relationship in medicine from the perspective of science of meditation. Of course, it is this perspective is slightly different from the perspective of Dr. Veronica. So I'm Vibin Ramakrishnan. I'm a faculty of Bioscience and Bioengineering in IIT Guwahati. So let me go in the same way as that of the presentation. Yes. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the mind-brain-body relationship, so we have to necessarily start with the mind, right? So mind is more an abstract thing than brain and body. So brain and body is much more tangible than mind. So the first question would be, can we train our mind, or can yogic techniques, especially meditation, which is considered to be the Raja Yoga, the king of all yogas, can actually made use of in training your mind? And most often these topics are discussed very elaborately among various forums. And mostly what I found is that almost all discussions, the information that are being provided do not have a very solid scientific founding. Instead, most of them are being told without any specific scientific reference. So when I was invited for this, I was thinking that, well, can I give some very solid scientific reference based on some research activities conducted in accomplished laboratories to some of the claims that yogic techniques, especially meditation, can possibly provide to the practitioners. So this is my idea when I got an invitation to this talk. So I will initially start with the brain because it has to start with because it is a main mind-brain-body relationship. Then kind of a concept called brain waves. Then the talk will be proceeding to about 5 to 6 case studies by accomplished researchers on this particular aspect, mind to brain to body relationship, how it is actually being translated to some kind of a very tangible research results in the field of science. Okay, so this is the agenda for the lecture. We'll start, as I said, we'll start with brain and brain waves, and then we will have about 6 case studies, starting with preserving aging brain, how to reduce activity in brain's me center, then increased cortical thickness related activities, then breathing rate, chronic insomnia, and blood pressure. So I hope I'll be able to finish it off about 20 minutes so that Shailaja will be much more happy in accommodating the following speakers. This picture I got from NCERT textbooks, so I think it will not fall into any kind of what should I say, the patent issues or the intellectual property issues. Human brain, when we studied human brain, we call it a cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla, medulla. But now they are taught slightly differently. I was reading NCERT textbook while preparing for this lecture. Now they call it as forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain, or the brain stem. But essentially they are all the same: cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla, or the brain stem. So there are different ways of studying brain, and there are different ways and means have been employed. The 2 most important techniques are, one is an electroencephalograph and other is MRI scan of brain. Electroencephalograph is like electrocardiograph. Electrocardiograph deals with the activity of the heart, whereas electroencephalograph is about the brain, or it is roughly measures the brain waves of sorts. Now, brain waves are broadly classified into 5: theta, delta, alpha, beta, and gamma. Theta is having a frequency range of 0.5 to 4 hertz, delta 4 to 8, alpha 8 to 12, beta 12 to 30, and gamma 30 to 44. Theta waves are in a very deep meditative state, or in a very, very deep sleep. Very rarely we achieve that deep sleep. If you are in a very deep sleep or during childhood and all, you can achieve that theta. Then delta is a sleepy state of sorts. Then alpha, of course, beta is our normal brain activity, and gamma is when you do problem solving, multitasking, etc. Now, just have a very, if you have a very close look at it, you will find that delta is, as the wave indicates, it's a very passive, slow wave. And gamma is a very active wave, just having a much higher frequency compared to delta. We all have studied, right? The frequency has a relationship with energy. Energy has a relationship with work. So the more you work, the more gamma will be in action, the more beta will be in action. How is it related to the wellness of the body? I was trying to understand it from a slightly different perspective. Rather, I was trying to hypothesize it, that if you work more, then suppose this is a factory. Of course, it is a factory. Our body is a factory, if you see it very objectively. where thousands of chemical reactions are happening simultaneously. So when you see it as a factory, if there is more work, there is more chances of having effluents coming out of that work, which will be accumulated. In real factories, it is actually dumped, unfortunately, to air, to water, to the soil. So in this case, there is not, the option is mostly to dump in the body. So what happens if you have more toxins that comes out, which are being dumped in the body? The result is, your body will become progressively weaker, or in other sense, you will become older. You will become older at a faster rate. Nobody likes it. We all know it. Brain consumes more than about 20% of total energy, and some toxins which are produced in the body through a routine body chemical reactions actually adds up to aging. So if you can do the work, so that doesn't mean that, people who are working in science, problem solving is something routine for all of us. We have to take lectures, we have to read for it. So problem solving, multitasking is a day-to-day part of our day-to-day activity. So for the most desirable thing for people who are actively involved in, consuming brains utilities is like whether they can bring down their frequencies, yet do problem solving as effective as being in higher frequencies. Means, can we do the same work at a lesser frequency? So whether meditation will be helpful for that. If meditation is helpful for that, then it's a deal. It's a good deal, actually. It's a very desirable situation. So this is something that meditation offers as far as the relation, as far as its effect in dealing with the brain or the training of the mind is concerned. Now, how will it help is like, if we do that kind of a detoxification, then we can remain younger for a longer period. And I have a slide towards the end of this thing, how much can we be younger? So, and that will also be reflected from 5 case studies that I'm going to discuss in the following 10 minutes. Okay, now this is the case study number 1. It's about preserving aging brain. This is one study by Elaine Luders in University of California at Los Angeles. What he found is that he has about 100 long-term meditators as control subjects, which are aged between 24 to 77. And as a premise, the volume loss in gray matter is a very usual observation. As we grow older, the volume of gray matter in brain will be progressively decreased. So that may be probably the reason why older people have relatively lesser memory and relatively lesser intellectual ability, with no disregard to any old people who are in the audience or in the panel. I mean, this is a general observation, but may not be a specific observation. So the general observation is like there is a volume loss in gray matter. So in order to experiment, in order to hypothesize this particular aspect, so they did an experiment and they found that negative correlation with gray matter volume is very usual. There will be a decrement with gray matter with age. But for meditators, they made 2 groups, meditators and non-meditators, and they found that the negative correlation is significantly less for meditators. As you can see in this particular slide, the controls are in the green and the meditators are in the yellow. The progressive decrement of gray matter volume is significantly reduced for people who practice meditation. So this is one aspect of preserving the aging brain, because aging is also very much related to aging your brain and brain's activity. That is the first thing. Brain is probably the most important organ that which we have. So as I said, decrease in gray matter volume is significantly less compared to the non-meditators. This is a work published in Frontiers in Psychology in 2015. Second one is about the monkey mind. Many times meditators claim that we can tame our mind, we can control our mind, but without saying any proof for that. Here is the proof. This is a study done by Judson Brewer and co-workers, published in PNAS, great, from Yale University. So they made 3 groups of meditators: choiceless awareness, loving kindness, and concentration. These are 3 different types of meditators, group of meditators. They are grouped and they are respective in green, yellow, and blue. And what they found is that their objective marker was something called DMN, default mode network. A decreased DMN activation means increased focus. So what they found is that the monkey mind or wandering mind is significantly less, or the similar signals for DMN is significantly less for meditators when you compare with the controls. Means when you compare with people who don't do meditation, meditators are better snapping the wandering mind and they can bring back their focus. But probably this is quite usual for somebody who is doing meditation, because that is what you are doing when you are doing meditation. So this is something very straightforward, but here is a scientific proof for that. So as I said in the beginning, I am here to give scientific, so-called quote-unquote scientific proofs for some of the claims that meditators or yogic personals make when they, or rather offer to the participants or practitioners before offering it as a technique to improve your well-being. Okay. This third one is cortical thickness. Cortical thickness is also associated with aging, because cortical thickness, the thickness of the cortex, will be progressively decreased with age. So there is an observation. This is studied by Sarah Lazar. Sarah Lazar has done a lot of activity, a lot of studies in Harvard University. She did a lot of work in related to meditation, and this work is published in Neuro Reports in 2005. And as you can see, cortical thickness is in blue color. Cortical thickness is significantly less. Blue is in people who are meditators, and the red people who are non-meditators. And as you can see very well, that even at the age of 50, the people who are meditating has roughly the same cortical thickness compared to that of somebody who is at 25. That means if you meditate, your brain will be kind of preserved or conserved, more or less. So this is as scientific proof for that. The details are given. I am not repeating the same thing. Probably who can read it, they must have understood it now. There is something that is, we all, when we practice meditation, we experience that when we get into the meditative state, within 5 minutes, for instance, your breathing rate is significantly reduced. There is a very significant reduction. This is some kind of an observation even for a very naive meditator or very naive practitioner of meditation. Your breathing rate will be significantly reduced. But here also the proof was, I have not seen people giving the proof. Here is the proof. There is a very decrease in breathing rate per minute. BPM is plotted. And why this is decreasing is probably because the thickness of the cortex, because there is a direct relationship between cortical thickness and change in breathing rate. If the cortical thickness is more, your breathing rate will be less. It's a negative correlation, make no mistake. That's why you are seeing it in the inverted kind of graph. The change in breathing rate is significantly less if you have significantly thick brain, or vice versa. Okay. Now this is some problem with people who are relatively older. This is a study by Dr. Jairam Thimapuram of Wellspan Hospital in Pennsylvania. He's a heartfulness trainer and practitioner. He engaged about 32 adult patients in chronic primary who are suffering from chronic primary insomnia in heartfulness meditation for a lengthy period of about 2 weeks, 8 weeks. 8 weeks is roughly about 2 months. And then he measured the insomnia severity index, and you will see the results is fantastic. I mean, the ISI score, the insomnia severity index, means if ISI score is more, his insomnia levels are more, means his sleeplessness is more. So in a pre-meditation mean ISI score, as you can see, it's about 20.9, but after 8 weeks of training, under the surveillance of a trainer, he could bring it down to about 10.4, and that is very significant. And he has about 32 participants, and you can see the ISI score of all the 32 participants in the lower panel, and how the blue ones have significantly reduced to the orange ones. And this is a fantastic result as far as insomnia is concerned. Now I'm coming to the last case study, that is about the blood pressure. This is something that is a very frequent claim, that blood pressure is significantly reduced when you practice meditation. There are two kinds of blood pressures. Like one is systolic one, which is the force your heart exerts on the walls of arteries, and the other is diastolic blood pressure, where the force your heart exerts on the walls of your arteries in between the beats, in the relaxed state. Now here the sample set has about 43 participants in a 10-session program with high or elevated blood pressure, who are suffering from elevated blood pressure. And this study is quite long. It's about 1 year, spanning about 1 year. And more than 80% of the participants had hypertension with blood pressure readings of 130 mm of mercury or more for systolic and 85 mm or more for diastolic. And the result is that they published is rather surprising, to me, much more actually than I was expecting, rather, because generally I have seen in another meta-analysis that there is a difference in diastolic blood pressure of 4.5 mm. Here, what they have reported is that there is an overall reduction in blood pressure of 15.1 mm on an average, mean decrease in blood pressure of 15.1 mm. This may be systolic as well. See, this is the work done by Eric Laws in Brown University. The point I want to make is that even if it is 5, okay, if you can decrease the diastolic BP of 5 mm of mercury, the impact that it can have in the wellness of your heart is too good, actually. Please, you can verify it with any cardiac surgeon, or you can verify it with any cardiologist. Your heart, the physical well-being of heart will be significantly improved even if you can make it 5. Forget about 15. Even if you can make it 1/3 of it, 5 of it, it's too good for the heart. Okay, so that with that I conclude. Actually, this is, I think, the 6. What I wanted to present here is like, many of the claims that meditators make are actually being experimented upon. And I wanted to present before you the experimental results done in accomplished laboratories all over the world in order to give a scientific proof. Because many a times this is a complaint about Ayurveda, this is a complaint about yoga, this is a complaint, that so many people, like, say, you will say 7 out of 10 people say that they are not scientific. But what I want to tell them that they are scientific, these are the proofs. Okay. Well, this is one question that anybody who is listening to this lecture may be having: how much younger we can be if we meditate and make it as a part of our daily routine. Well, I did a meta-analysis myself, but the analysis was kind of casual. That's why I didn't want to write those numbers here. But from these reading these papers, and a meta-analysis of myself, what I could understand is that if you can start your meditation at the age of 25, and if God gives you an opportunity to live up to 75, for instance, at the age of 75, your body will be of roughly 55-year-old. That means you can be, your health parameters will be of roughly 55 years. Even though you are 75-year-old. Okay. I started meditation at the age of 21. So probably, but as they say, zindagi and maut, life and death are not in our hands. So that's a different situation. But this is some kind of a take-home message that you can have. That one, it is very well scientific, and people are doing experiments on that, verifying its scientific veracity. Number 2, if you practice it, and if you practice it with decent discipline, then you can save at least, you can save your health parameters of roughly about 20 years. So thank you for listening. I hope I am on time, and I didn't, probably Shailaja will be happy that I finished in 25 minutes or so. Okay.
Thank you so much, Vipin sir. Yes, in fact, we do have some good research even on heartfulness meditation and breathing rate, which we're mentioning, and heart rate variability. And we were fortunate to actually have Dr. Jay in one of the sessions discussing his research and his findings. And it was really interesting. We hope that we can all get together sometime and really see, how we can contribute more. And these things apart, yes, wandering mind and concentration, recalling those days when I was a student, the monkey mind, the wandering mind, and today, I think my concentration did improve. So thank you for joining and thank you for the talk. It was very informative. We will come back to the reflections towards the end of the session. Thank you, Vibin sir. We have you saying something?
No, thank you. I have nothing more to say. I'm fine.
Okay. We now have.
Can I have just
Yes, sir, please.
well, Dr. Vivin, I must compliment for the excellent presentation which you have given.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh. Thank you.
Of course, I was a little bit busy because, I mean, when you are in the office, you are always disturbed. So it's not that easy to consider it. But I was listening, and it is, see, this type of studies are required. What is done, they are superficial in our country. It is unfortunate. Such studies, more and more such studies are required to be produced. This, then only it will be promoted in the right sense.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
This is what is my feeling. And there are many things like that. Even in the Ayurveda, the same thing is happening.
Yeah, right. That's
Now
right.
slowly they are turning, but I mean, we should not talk of China too much, but since I went only once, but I could see why they have come so fast.
They are doing n number of research activities to actually promote
just,
Chinese system of medicine.
if
Yeah.
you see their pharmacy university, they had 10 NMRs. Can you imagine that? 10 NMR means what? 5 LCMS, just like that. Oh, and what we are here, even to get one LCMS, it is a lot of struggle. How we will come on? But it is okay. It's whatever, slowly, everything it takes time. But I enjoyed your talk. I wanted to convey thanks. And
Thank you.
we have to understand in a scientific way also. And how to use in the post-COVID, that is going to be a challenge. And persons like you only can really come forward to suggest that this is the way it should be taken.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank
ji.
you.
Thank you, Vivin sir. Now we move on to our next speaker for the day. Rather, not speaker, she's going to make us laugh for a while. She's the laughter ambassador, Dr. Rashmi Jain. She's here on behalf of the Indus Wellness Code. I would want to introduce her profile. Dr. Rashmi Jain is a retired gynecologist and medical superintendent from an Atomic Power Station Hospital in Maharashtra, a hospital run by Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, public sector undertaking under Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. She's a visiting consultant gynecologist, Alwar, Rajasthan, and a rural health center in Jaipur. Dr. Rashmi did her MS Gynecology from Subhash Chandra Bose Medical College and Hospital, Jabalpur, with gold medal for securing highest marks. Her publications include diverse topics such as cryosurgery in gynecology, subcuticular perineoplasm, women's health, AIDS, contraceptives, and cancer. Apart from these, she was also involved in medical management of radiation emergencies, hospital etiquettes, etc. She studied the effect of laughter on various ailments like diabetes, heart disease, psychological disorders, depression, severe orthopedic lesions, etc. Her awards and fellowships include a Group Achievement Award for displaying extraordinary skills and expertise in medical crisis management by NPCIL. She is also a fellow of Indian Association of Medical Specialists and Laughter Ambassador by Laughter Yoga International. She writes poems and stories. She has special interest in yoga, laughter yoga, taking yoga classes with customized training according to physical disability. Thank you for joining, Dr. Rashmi. We're eagerly waiting for you.
Thank you so much, Shailja. And at the outset, I want to thank the organizers for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences, which I would say it was very small, but it had an impact on everyone's life. The laughter, as we say, is the primitive language of communication. It's not a decade old or so, something like that. From the very beginning of the human I would say the life, it was the language of communication. And the child in the very infancy, the 3-month-old child knows how to laugh. But as we grow old, a toddler laughs 300 times, and as an adult, we hardly laugh for years together. It is like a taboo to laugh loud or to express our feelings in the form of laughter. The laughter for me means living life lovingly with an attitude of understanding and gratitude, with humor and humility, with the tolerance, energizing, and rejuvenation. It provides all, and the effect is seen instantaneously, as I have seen in many of my patients. We have started this laughter not very long back, but after the laughter guru from India, the Madan Kataria, who has become the laughter worldwide guru, and now has picked up the momentum, and now we are having in 110 countries all over the world the laughter clubs running here and there. The effect of the laughter has been tremendous. I've seen the people who are having the contractures, their hands were like this, and with the laughter, and then attending it, the clapping, the very first thing which we do to break up the ice. So I want you all to practice and to see the experience, the effect yourself. Are you ready? Come on. So let us start with the clapping. We do with the chanting of ho, ho, and ha, ha. So it is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Come on, fast. Ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And after this, you have to have a playfulness, the playfulness of a child. You know, as we are growing old, do you want to know how does it affect? As it is said by the Rahim, कि प्यार की गली सकरी उसमें रहे समाये न दो, या तो मैं रहूं या हरी रहे, अगर हरी रहे तो मैं नहीं रहूं. तो इसी तरह से जो emotions हैं हमारे, whether it is the tension, the anger, the agitation, and the love and the gratitude, they don't go together. So now let us see whether this thing is true or not. Are you ready? Okay, come on. Now you have to make face as if you are very angry. Come on, full of anger, tight, tight, tight. You want to kill someone. Come on. And now smile with anger. Can you? Can you smile with anger? No, it's not possible. The moment you smile, everything eased out. And that is the beauty of laughter. And so when you laugh, what are you doing is you are expelling the air out. So when it's like Kapalbhati, you know, as Dr. Veronica was also saying, ho, ho. So when you're doing ho, ho, your tummy goes in. So now let us try. Are you doing like this? Come on. Ho. Start laughing loud. Come on, you have to experience. This is the time to experience. We have been listening to the yoga for last 3 hours, almost, not exactly, the 2 hours, I would say. Yes, for the 2 hours. Now your mind is full of information. So get energized and do it again. Heart full, belly full, belly. Okay, come on. I remembered him. Did you? Come on, express out. Now express out all that what you have collected inside. The moment you laugh, it has been said, when we laugh wholeheartedly, we have not to get our heart opened up surgical. You know, दिल खोल के हंस लिए होते यारों के साथ, तो दिल नहीं खुलवाना पड़ता औजारों के साथ. तो एक बार फिर से हंसेंगे और अपने आप को स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाएंगे. Come on! Now, अभी आप सोचेंगे कि it's only to make laughter when how can I laugh when I am in the office? Can I laugh in the office? Yes, you can. Can you laugh in the office? Yes. How? Now you have not to make any noise. Huh? Got it? So and when you laugh wholeheartedly, your blood pressure comes down. Your blood vessels, they opened up. It was like you've got something blockages in your brain, they will open up. You feel a gush of blood coming to your face. Your face gets charged up. Your muscles get worked and you feel so young. One more we'll be doing, and this is a laughter of old age. We are all going to be old age. It's a fact. और तब हमारे मुंह में हो सकता है दांत भी ना हो, तो तब आप कैसे हंसेंगे? अभी आपने in the lecture, the last lecture, the speaker was saying very rightly, if you do this, then what happens? You become young. So from 90 years, we have come to the 50 years. No. What or come? Say 25, 30 years. Agreed? Shalja, what do you say? 30 years.
Totally agree.
Okay. So we'll be with the full enthusiasm. Okay. Now I'm young. So hold it. Again, hold it. Okay. Now, there is one thing very peculiar about the laughter yoga. It is a symphony, a beautiful symphony of laughter with yoga. Okay. We think that yoga means only seriousness. No, it is living life like a child with the ease and simplicity and with the love and affection. So how a small child lives, have you seen? There are so many kids in a house, all your neighbors. So be like a child and laugh with making all that funny faces. Okay, so we'll do that. And switching of emotions. This is very difficult because when we are in an angry mode, like an angry bird, it becomes very difficult to come to love mode. So now let us try and see. Okay. Now I want you to be roaring like a lion. Are you ready? Oh, look at the eyes. Ah! And class. It is good, good, very good, 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 very good, 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 very good, 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 very good. And there is another thing. When we are in a depressed mode, so much of cluttering of thoughts that our ability to judge and to appreciate things is very much declined. Okay. So what the Gita says, मनसा वाचा कर्मणा, आप जो सोचते हैं आप वैसा बोलते हैं और जो आप बोलते हैं वो आप करते हैं. Laughter goes reverse direction because you cannot change the thought process. So the laughter says, start doing action. It will be reflected in your speech, and then gradually it will change your thought. Okay, so can you do that? This is called total pagalpanthi. You know what? In another language, it is called gibberish. So the gibberish is something like where we don't say a word. Huh? Got it? We don't say a word. We are only talking about the letters, alphabets, right? So the alphabets, you have, acha, there is one more thing. We have got the 7 chakras in our body. And if there is something is wrong or the blockage is there, then the disease is manifested. Every chakra, every system has got a letter, a bija mantra, as it is said. So your body, you yourself has got something, some bija mantra. So don't listen to the others. Don't listen to the others, what they are doing and how they are performing. What you have to do is let that mantra come automatically to you. Okay. So you have to close your eyes, find a place where you can move around. You have to shed, like you have to make all the movements to shedding, to thumping, and making faces and uttering a letter like yeah, you can do, but you have not to see. हाँ, किसी को देखना नहीं है. Another thing, हंसना नहीं है. This is a total cleansing process, which if can do it, it takes only 1 minute. Okay, so we'll be doing it for the 1 minute, and after this is will be some affirmations which are given and which has got a very deep impact in your thinking, and it changes you totally to from the like the depressed mode or the negative negativity in you will totally pass away. It's like better cleaning than a Deepavali ka cleaning of your house. It's a total cleaning of yourself. So if you give your 100%, you will know the difference right now. So are you ready? Come on, let us do it. So what you have to do is you have to do like this, shed everything. Huh? And with the force. Yeah. And once you are done, just be yourself, relax, breathe normally, concentrate on your breathing. We all know we are breathing. Definitely, you are breathing or not. So when we are breathing in, we are taking the oxygen, and the oxygen is the energy source. It provides energy. So feel that all that prana which is going inside you, reaching to each and every corner of your body, and is purifying it, energizing it. Feel for that. And with every expiration, you are expelling carbon dioxide. And with the carbon dioxide, all that negativity, the bitterness, the disease, the pain is going. Deep breathing in, deep breathe out. When you breathe in, the energy is coming to your body. When you're breathing out, all your disease, pain, everything is going out. You're becoming light. With each breath, You are becoming more eased out, more simple, more lighted, enlightened. Now you are sparkling like a diamond, and from you, the vibrations of love and the peace are emitting into your environment. It's enlightening everything. Whatever you receive, whatever you give, comes back to you. So give your best, the best wholeheartedly. Give love, give affection, give peace to everything around you. Now you have become the embodiment of peace and love. Feel for the air around you, the cool breeze with the closed eyes. Feel for the light of the sun. Now, with the cool breeze, as if the universal life force energy, the Paramatma, is patting you with the love. Merge yourself into that. Be united with that. The universal life force, and get filled with the power, love, the peace, the knowledge. Now fold your hands in Namaskar Mudra and bow in front, thanking that supreme power. Bow again and thank your parents, your teacher. Bow again and be thankful and grateful to this body. You are unique creation of this supreme power. So you should be grateful. Now, be grateful to all living and non-living creatures. It has been our habit to not to recognize the people and the things which have helped us. We take it for granted, but we always remember the things and the people who have not done as per our whims, who have put hurdles to our pathways. So we should be grateful to the people who have been of great help to us, and we should never forget them. We should never forgive them. We should never forget them. We should always remember. And those who have not done as per our wishes, we should not have the bitter feeling for them, the hatred. We should have the love and affection because they have provided us by not performing the things as per our whims. They have given us challenge and given us the ways and the means to come out of that crisis. So we should be grateful to them. And as we move further, we should not have any bitterness, anything for anyone around or in our past or in our body or in our family or people around. We should have only the love and love and love. And we end with Mera Mangal, Tera Mangal, Sabka Mangal, Hoye Re, Is Dharti Se, Is Ambar Tak, Sabka Mangal, Hoye Re. This we end saying good, good, very good, 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 very good, and A hearty laughter. Ah! Thank you so much for being with us for this session, which has been a glimpse of the laughter, which I wanted to provide you a glimpse of the feel of the laughter and enjoy it. Hope this is some. If there has been some miscommunication or some lackings, it is because of me. I was not able to communicate it properly. Otherwise, the laughter is the best medicine and it is very easy, and that is why it has propagated so fast all over the world. And with this, again, नमस्कार, धन्यवाद। और हमारी यही कोशिश रहती है कि हमारा हमेशा अगला कदम पहले से बेहतर हो और हम इस दुनिया में खुशियां बांट सके और एक रहनुमा बन सके। Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Rashmi ma'am. It was indeed towards the end probably that made up for everything. Like you're saying, yoga is not about being serious, it's about being like a child. I think that's what you did during the session. Thank you so much for your time with us. We now quickly move into the reflections for the day and a quick recall of what all we could have. Sodani sir, he was telling us yoga is about practicing yoga. It's not just about discussions or, even deliberations, but practicing yoga as an integral part of one's lifestyle. We had Dr. Sai Baba sir telling us what goes around comes around. And it's not just preparing to reap the fruits, but working towards raising ourselves into something meaningful. And yoga is an aspiration for universal health and well-being. And then we had Ramesh Goel sir, who was trying to approach yoga both from scientific and philosophical perspectives, and how it's not just about HOLY, but it's about holistic health and the synergy for energy, the heart, the brain, and the application. How do we move forward so that we integrate this component as a part of our health and daily living? We had Dr. Veronique, who helped us with quick exercises. She discussed about Ashtanga Yoga, about sympathetic and parasympathetic system, the Hatha Yoga, moon and the sun, balancing duality and going beyond duality, and the effect of yoga on physical, physiological, mental, and energetic level, and how heartfulness cleaning helps at the energetic level. There was an in-depth discussion on the science of yoga, and she simplified it saying that it's about just rolling out your mat and doing yoga. It's about going inwards when you can't go outwards. We had Nivedita Di, who had reinforced the earlier speaker and also said that yoga is an integral part. It's not just about different yogas, Hatha Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Raja Yoga, but it's an integrated of all the practices. And what manifests during challenges is the best in us or the worst in us. It depends on us. She discussed about the oneness of existence, that yoga is a way of life based on the oneness of existence. About yama and niyama to be practiced every day. That yoga is one integral approach. It's just being approached from different angles. And our karma can become our connection to the Almighty. And that yoga is a twofold sadhana between us and the community, and harmony in nature, bringing elevation in our own selves. towards collective harmony. And that yoga is experiential science and not just merely a speculative subject. And she reinforced Swami Vivekananda's message that truth doesn't pay homage to the society. Society should pay homage to the truth or perish. She also reinforced Dr. Sai Baba Sir's thoughts on what goes around comes around to create harmony in nature, and the whole world is one. We had Dr. Krishna discussing the shift from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases of late and the lifestyle. And he discussed yoga from preventive perspective and health promotion than merely for disease control, and how meditation could be an integral part of one's lifestyle. We had Dr. Vibin talking about the mind-body relationships in medicine, about the brain waves. He discussed various case studies on how meditation could help improve various physiological and physical parameters, some of it being the gray matter, the aging process, the cortical thickness, the breathing rate, the improvement in insomnia, the blood pressure, and so on. And yes, we had Dr. Rashmi ma'am, who really made us laugh like children with her message that yoga is living life like a child. And it's either living with open heart or going for an open heart surgery. We have a choice. Thanks to all of you for your contributions, we know that you're all invited elsewhere too. We take this opportunity to thank all our partners, Heartfulness Institute, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, the Indus Wellness Co-Trust, and Vivekananda Kendra for joining us to make this program a success. We thank President of IHMR University, Dr. P.R. Sudani, for his support as always, Dr. Shiv Tripathi, Dean Training, for his support, Dr. Ramesh Koelji for his address to the participants, Dr. Sai Baba Sir for his keynote address, Dr. Veronique Nikolai. She had a very hectic day commemorating a 100-day yoga program today. She took her time, we're grateful. Also to Nivedita Di for joining us and delivering an inspirational talk as she always does. We thank Dr. Krishnamurthy for his consistent support while planning the event and joining us today. Dr. Vibin Ramakrishnan for his talk, case studies. Dr. Rashmi Jain for the heartfelt laughter. We thank Pranayat sir, the designer of, he had been with us for designing the flyers while his family was in hospital. He himself was in hospital and we're very grateful for his support. We thank Hiten sir and IT team who has been with us all through during the event. We thank all the participants who made this initiative a success, without whom definitely the program is incomplete. We look forward for more, and we thank you all wholeheartedly for your support in making this program a success. Thank you for joining. Our only concern is we could not admit the questions given the time constraint. We look forward for some more programs in future. Definitely we'll allot a separate Q&A session so that the participants have an opportunity also for that. Thank you for joining, all of you. Thank you.